if you're going to unlock SMS at the local level, it must be TCPA compliant. It must be brand safe messaging. You have to keep the best interests of the brand top of mind. The second component is your brand voice, and we talked about that a little bit as well. When franchisees represent your brand, especially if they're doing that in mass to their local audience, they need to appropriately represent the brand, and automated enforcement of that is the best way to do it. The third piece is communication cadence. So franchisees shouldn't be permitted to over communicate and send a dozen texts a week. They're going to oversaturate their audience. They're going to cause them to opt out, which is less leads or customers that corporate can reach. And you also don't want franchisee messaging to conflict with your corporate marketing calendar. So you need to have visibility and control over what they're doing from a centralized place.
I'd also say you'd want to be careful too, because if you're utilizing, and I know you guys have a solve for this, but in general, non-Voxie related, if you're utilizing texting and all of a sudden, let's say it's one number or one system, if they opt out of texting, and then did they just opt out of their appointment reminders? Did they opt out of emergency situations and like youth enrichment if they have to call the parent? So those are some things to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. Handling marketing versus transactional consent separately is something that from a programmatic perspective, every brand should be thinking about is how do I enable my consumers to choose how they're receiving communications, not only what channels they're receiving communications on, but within that channel, what types of communications can they receive? A lot of brands are starting to roll out things like preference centers to allow consumers to be in control of types of communication per channel. And that also is a signal of how best to reach that consumer, how they want to be marketed to or communicated with. The final component here on unlocking SMS is cost and ensuring that the brand's budget can stay intact. When you start unlocking local SMS and maybe dozens, hundreds, even thousands of locations are starting to send campaigns out and text with their customers, there's a fixed cost to that. There's carrier fees involved in SMS that you don't see in email and other communication mediums. The way that Voxie likes to solve this with our customers is to enable franchisee-funded texting programs. Corporate can sponsor or provide a credit for texting for the franchisees up to a certain amount, which fixes the cost for the brand. And then anything above and beyond that can be covered by and billed to the franchisee so that there's cost sharing there. And if the franchisee does want to spend more, they're able to dip into their own local marketing budget for that